We are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Back in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 474, part of the Lineups Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Good. So, what am I doing? I am watching the Mets currently losing to the Marlins 6-0. Their season officially ends tonight. The Jets are now 0-3 and have been eliminated from the NFL and have to play in college next year. They're so goddamn bad. And the Knicks, I have to pretend are going to be good because we have a whole season to do, and it's not even preseason yet. So, how are you doing, Jay?
Just about as well. It's not a great time for New York sports, but
Well, it is a good time. That's not true. If you're a New York Giant fan, the Giants drafted the quarterback everyone said not to draft, and he had an amazing, amazing debut. And the Yankees are going to the playoffs and look like they have a shot at the World Series. It's just really a matter of if you root for – and the Brooklyn Nets have got Kevin Durant, who may not play, but it seems like we're just rooting for the wrong New York teams.
Mm. Okay, so it's a dark time just for us.
Just us,
Okay.
really, just us. But the Knicks, I keep thinking, not even hoping, but thinking that really the Knicks will be better than people think. We're not going to be as bad as last year. The trouble is that even as being not as bad as last year, I'm still thinking like 30 wins is really like the ceiling here. I hope it's better than that, but I think the team will be more competitive than. Okay,
Yeah,
what's going on, Jay?
I was talking with a coworker today, and we were like, yeah, there's like 8 players that can go either way on the Knicks. So, like, the season could swing wildly depending on how any of those players play.
I have to say, you say 8, and I'm really wondering, who are you not counting? Are you assuming Mitchell Robinson will have a good season? And then who else could go either way? Who else could not go either way? Sorry.
Oh, I'm just figuring guys like 9 through 15 on the bench who won't play.
I was going to say guys 2 through 15 could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, well, I figure we know what Taj Gibson is, right?
Yeah, but you could all... Yeah, fine, fair. Taj Gibson could be a very good role player off the bench, provide some decent defense, a little bit of offense.
And we kind of know what Morris is.
Yes. Very good player. Ceiling is being a very good trade chip at the deadline.
All right, so that's 3 guys, including Robinson.
Yeah, so...
And, yeah, there's like the 8 middle guys are just like... They can go anywhere.
So Kevin Knox could be that guy that made that amazing sophomore year jump, or he could be Frank Ntilikina, last year's version.
And Frank Ntilikina could make a jump or not. And everybody's like this.
Yeah, Alonzo Trier could prove I'm more than just a scorer. I'm a starter in this league, or he can prove that he is what you thought he was. And RJ Barrett could be like, hey, forget summer league doesn't matter. I'm actually going to be a star in this league, or can make us sorry we wasted last year on getting him.
Yeah, so it's going to be
a lot can go either way. You're right.
Feast or famine with like this entire roster. Dodson,
Julius
Smith
Randle
Jr.
could be like, "Hey, Knicks got me right before I became a perennial All-Star," or we got Enes Kanter with a few more offensive moves.
Right. So
it should be interesting.
Should be.
What else is going on? So this is going to be our Western Conference preview today, and we're going to go into the Western Conference in a minute. The Western Conference, by the way, is going to be very interesting, to say the least, right?
Yeah. This is like one of 2 episodes per season where we don't talk about the Knicks very much, but we like to make our predictions and then see how ridiculous we were at the end of the season. I think it's kind of fun, and hopefully you guys do too.
The East is kind of like cable TV, public access. The West is prime time viewing.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I had trouble making these predictions for the standings.
Yeah, so we're going to go through. So is there anything Knicks related we mention? I don't think there's much to talk about today.
Not really. If you want to contact us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Our website is thenewyorknickspodcast.com. We got a couple shirts for sale there. We have Patreon, or you could just go to patreon.com/NYNix podcast. We're also NYNix podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Before we go right into the Western Conference preview, we had 2 quick questions on Facebook. I'll just do them because one of them is Knicks related.
Okay.
Jeffrey writes, if Kornet was considered KP light, do you think Porzingis coming off an injury will only end up being as good as Kornet? I hope Jeff's right. That sounds pretty good to me.
I mean, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I mean, can you imagine if he
Porzingis?
just...
How good do you think Porzingis will be coming off? So he's in a better coached, better run system.
Mhm.
He has a guy that can get him the ball. What do you think? I mean, it's just going to be a better run team than what he had previously. But of course, he'll also coming off on an injury that'll make him not nearly as mobile.
I think he's going to have a similar season as he had the last one with the Knicks, where he's going to pull off a string of games where we're going to be like, oh my God, what do we do? And then he's going to have a couple games where he looks pretty bad, gets exposed. And I think that's just going to be his career. I don't think he's going to turn into this unstoppable unicorn force, whatever that people are
I would
talking about.
predict maybe 17 or 18 points a game, which is pretty solid. But
Yeah.
I think his shooting percentage is going to be lower than you'd like.
And his rebounds are going to be less than you'd like. It's going to be like 18 and 6.
He'll probably be 42% from the field, like 31% from 3, which will be solid. He'll get 1 or 2 blocks a game. He will not be as good as everyone hopes.
He's going to be like, okay, he's a good starter, but not an all-star.
He'll be a guy that will burn bad teams and he will not look as good when it counts.
Right.
Because better teams will just figure him out, and I don't know if he'll adjust the way he should. But then again, he's in a better situation overall as far as coaching. He's a better run team. Maybe they'll help him figure stuff out, and maybe having the European connection over there will help out a lot.
I mean, he's definitely got a better point guard than he's ever played with.
You think? Evan writes, am I crazy to think the Warriors will still be the best team in the West? When healthy, sometimes later in the season, to me, they are the only team with 3 superstars.
I would say they're not the best team in the West just because Thompson isn't going to come back until the very end of the season.
I don't think Thompson's going to be back this season. I know people are saying he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back. If he comes back, he'll be like a hobbled Thompson. He will not be nearly as good as he would be. Like a healthy version of him last year, he'll be like 50%.
He might even come back 100%, but it's going to be like 2 weeks left in the season or like first round of the playoffs.
Most guys aren't like most guys when coming back from the what was it, an ACL or yeah. Most guys aren't 100% at first. They took a while to get back, and they're usually worse when they come back. He's not.
I'm just saying, even if he is, they're not going to get the number 1 seed without him for the first 80 games of the season.
They're gonna have an interesting team, though. I mean, you got obviously you got Steph Curry, you got D'Angelo, which will be interesting out of the mix. You still have Draymond Green, who on offense keeps getting a little bit worse, even though he's still a beast on defense. Let's go through the teams. But I think Evan does have a point that they're going to be better than people expect, even though they've lost Durant.
Yeah, they're going to be good. They're just not going to be number 1 seed.
Okay, you want to start? Let's start with we're going to go alphabetically in this.
Are we doing who they won and lost, or are we going to go to standings?
I think we do standings second. Remember, we did additions, subtractions.
Okay, yeah, good.
And then we just say if the team's going in the right direction or the wrong direction.
Since we're doing questions, we might as well do the emails first.
So we've discussed nothing ahead of time, and now we're just showing.
We actually did, but
train wreck already. Train wreck already.
We literally discussed everything, and then it didn't work out. So Jorge writes,
it didn't work out.
In a recent interview, RJ was asked, who would he love to posterize? And he said KP. So my question is, will you guys simultaneously come if he does?
Not if we're in the same room, but if we're not in the same room, yes.
Yeah,
I think it'll be cool, kind of like some kind of telepathy. We'll be in different parts of the New York State and both come at the same time. Yeah.
I think it'll be great if that happens. Yeah.
That would be amazing. If that happens, I'm immediately getting that poster put in my son's room.
Yeah.
I'd be like, remember who used to root for Porzingis? See this other guy? He's throwing the ball down on his head.
Okay, that was actually it for. I'm glad we got that out of the way because that's it for questions. Now we don't have to go back.
We're going to talk about each team, the additions, subtractions, and we think the team is going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
The first team alphabetically in the West, Dallas Mavericks. They signed Steph Curry. They signed DeLon Wright, Boban. They lost Dirk, who retired. Trey Burke, who signed with the 76ers, I guess doesn't really matter. And Kostas Adinkim,
The Greek Freaks. The Greek
other
Freaks
brother.
Yeah.
Whatever. And they re-signed Porzingis and Dorius Finney-Smith. Porzingis is the big re-sign here. So what do you think? Is Dallas going in the right direction?
They're going in the right direction, but very slowly.
Well, they got a decent roster. I mean, obviously, the Luka and Porzingis thing should be interesting.
Seth Curry's fine, and they got Hardaway, who we know what he is. But there's not a ton after that. So they got some nice young pieces, but they're not. They have a ways to go.
Courtney Lee, they have one more year of Courtney Lee, I think, right?
Yeah.
Not that they were playing him that much, but yeah, they got Hardaway. I'd say they're going in the right direction. It's just you have two very young players in Porzingis and Doncic. I would say generally, I feel like they're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, I mean, what if if the Knicks could reverse situations with them instead of trading on Porzingis, we traded for and got Doncic, I think you'd be ecstatic.
Oh, I'd be totally ecstatic with Doncic, but I'm just saying they're not a very deep team after that.
Well, and what up and coming team? They were a bad team. That's why they got Doncic in the first place.
Yeah, but
Doncic
their projected starting lineup has DeLon Wright and Dwight Powell. It's not.
Oh, I'm not arguing they're a very good team. I'm just saying that you like where the franchise is going. If you have one of the best young players in the league with Doncic, you like where that's going. And you added another guy who could be a potential, even though we just said we don't think he's going to be, but he has a potential superstardom in Porzingis.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying.
You got a star player and you got a running mate for him. That's
They do.
Not a bad start.
But it's not like, look out, here comes the Mavericks.
It's also the West, so even doing all this, you could still be like the 13th seed.
Yeah.
Okay, next, you're up.
Denver Nuggets. They added.
Do you want to make moaning noises as you talk? Because I know you like the Nuggets.
They added Jeremy Grant.
Which is an underrated move because that's actually a pretty good pickup.
He was a good player. Yeah.
And he's also he's a big man who can block shots, and he's a very athletic big man, which works well in that Nugget team.
They drafted Ball,
which is just interesting.
I mean, at the 44th pick, why not?
Why the hell not? I would have been very happy with the Knicks getting Ball at 44th. I don't know if he's going to play so fast because he has that major injury, but
and they almost got another player because Michael Porter Jr. is projected to play, who missed all of last season.
Yeah, I mean, they got another player, basically.
They lost Isaiah Thomas, who didn't really play. Trey Lyles, who cares? So,
and also, Michael Porter, arguably, if healthy, would have been a top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah. So, they added Porter and Grant, lost almost nobody, and they were the 2 seed last year. So, in theory, it's a young team that just gets better with their experience from last year. Yeah, they don't really. All their main pieces were pretty young, except for Millsap, who is still going to be decent. So,
I love their move. I love where they're going.
Trending up. Yes.
Trending up. So you would say Dallas is trending up slowly, and the Nuggets are trending up fast.
The Nuggets are where you want to be. They're championship contenders. They're there. Yeah,
I can't argue with that. Golden State. I want to shit on you, but because I know you're secretly a Nugget fan. But
I always have a Western Conference side piece team, and it's definitely the Nuggets.
Okay. Does your girlfriend know about that?
Yeah.
Okay. The Golden State Warriors, they added D'Angelo Russell, Willie Cauley-Stein. Well, they added D'Angelo Russell. That was the big move. But they also added Willie Cauley-Stein, which is a decent move for a team that didn't really have a center. I guess, obviously, they have Green, but they...
Well, they have Kevon Looney, too.
Yeah, they have Kevon Looney. They brought him back also.
Who I think is underrated at, $6 million a year?
It's a solid guy. He played pretty well in the playoffs, so.
And he was injured, so I think he's an underrated center.
They got Alec Burks, Alec Burks is actually a pretty solid pick, also.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great or anything, but it's a solid guard to have. They drafted some players I've never heard of, and they lost. I don't know if you've ever heard of these players. They lost Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Jordan Bell, Damian Cook, Quentin Cook. They lost a lot of players.
DeMarcus
Not just
Cousins.
even the big DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, well, I barely was counting DeMarcus Cousins, but yeah.
And
They lost a
Thompson's
lot.
out for pretty much the whole season.
Yeah, and they lost Klay Thompson basically.
I mean,
So-
it's not as it sounds catastrophic, but Durant's out for the whole season. Iguodala is borderline washed up. Cousins can't get healthy. Livingston literally retired.
But
So
all those guys played. I mean, obviously Durant was a big piece, but like Iguodala still put up big minutes for them in the playoffs. Livingston wasn't so great last year.
no,
in the playoffs.
Livingston was done. Yeah,
Cousins. Cousins, they're probably
Cousins
fine
was
losing.
kind of done too.
But having guys like Bell, Jones, and like Quentin Cook were just guys that you needed depth. They lost depth also. It's not like they replaced these guys with a lot of really good players. So
No, I mean,
Gold-
you can even argue Cauley Stein might be an upgrade over Cousins the way Cousins was playing for a while.
yeah, Cauley Stein. If you don't really look at the video editing, he shoots threes like no other.
I can never think of Cauley Stein without thinking of you going nuts over that 2-minute clip of him hitting threes.
If anyone doesn't remember 4 years drafted, there's a video of Cauley Stein just hitting threes like he's goddamn Larry Bird. There may have been some video editing to help out that video.
Mark may have been all in on drafting him with the Knicks pick.
You know what? If we had drafted him, would it have worked out any worse than Porzingis, who's
Yes.
not on the team now?
True, but can you imagine how much shit the Knicks would have gotten if they drafted Cauley Stein instead of Porzingis?
Lot. Maybe he'd still be a Knick at least. Maybe he
Maybe.
wouldn't have demanded a trade.
Maybe.
He wouldn't have been like, hey, I don't work out with the team. I'm going to post these videos on Instagram, though, because I'm really cool and stuff. Golden State trending the wrong way.
Yes.
Can't argue with that. I mean, if you win the
No.
title, then they're
I will say-
finals.
Given what happened, getting Russell and Cauley Stein's not terrible.
No, and they can trend. Might have a short. They might be going from a peak to a short valley and go right back up to being good, but it's definitely not trending the right way.
Correct. Okay.
Okay. I mean, next year when they get Clay back, they might be a very, very good team and go right back to like the finals. But
Yeah.
Houston, you're up.
All right. They added Westbrook. I don't know if they added Macklemore, Tyson Chandler, Anthony Bennett, who I was
How could
surprised
you
was still
not
in the
say?
league.
How could you bury the lead but not saying Anthony Bennett right away? They added a former number one pick who has the same amount of. He's contributed as much to an NBA team as I have.
And they lost Chris Paul.
I can't believe Anthony Bennett's still in the league.
I was shocked.
I mean, has anyone? Is he possibly the worst? Well,
No.
Markel Fultz. Him and Fultz should battle it out on some like. There's some way to have Anthony Bennett and Markel Fultz should have a one-on-one game to see who's the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think that should be. They should travel around and just play at halftime of other games.
The thing is, Fultz, everyone thought was going to be good. Nobody thought Bennett was going to be good.
Yeah, it's almost Fultz is maybe a worse pick because Fultz had all the expectations. Anthony Bennett, people were like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah, exactly.
It was a weak draft, but it wasn't like Victor Oladipo was the number 2 pick. He kind of missed on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so and they lost. You ever hear of this guy Chris Paul?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, yeah. One of the best point guards this generation. Okay.
So where are they trending?
I
They
would.
re-signed Austin Rivers too, but and Gerald Green.
I mean, you can argue that they're better.
Because
I
Chris
would
Paul
not.
doesn't play in the playoffs.
Right. I would argue that they're not better. But you
Why?
can argue that they're better. Why? Because most of their key pieces are at or past their prime.
Okay, that's a good argument. Would you take the argument? I mean, we just said that Chris Paul doesn't play in the playoffs. He missed major playoff games every year, basically for Houston. You have a guy, Russell Westbrook, who's always healthy.
That I would say I would rather have Westbrook than Paul. But then I'm looking at the rest of their roster, and
The roster outside of losing Chris Paul, though, does the roster get any worse?
only age-wise.
Yeah, I mean that's totally a fair point.
But that's a legit point. I mean, you're looking at PJ Tucker, who's like 35. Gerald Green's in his 30s. That's their starting lineup. And you have Eric Gordon, who's in his 30s.
I'm going to say that the roster has plateaued and it basically is a lateral move from last year. I don't think they're trending upwards or downwards. I think they're kind of in neutral zone.
Right, which is going to be just not enough to.
I mean, they're still going to contend. They're still going to be one of the best teams in the West. It'll be interesting to see how Russell Westbrook and James Harden share the ball. But if anything, they might be more competitive in the playoffs than they were last year.
We'll see.
I mean, it should be. Do you think in the playoffs this year, and this is a long ways off, but do you think they go like they seem to go hyper ISO Harden in the playoffs? Do you think they'll change that now they have Westbrook?
That's a great question. That'll be really interesting. I mean, if they do, Westbrook's going to be real pissed.
It seems that like that's the one thing that like that works better in the regular season. In the playoffs, teams seem better prepared for the hyper ISO Harden offense.
I looked at the shooting numbers. Harden is very inefficient. He puts up crazy numbers just because he takes all the shots, but he's very inefficient.
Okay. Can you repeat the same exact sentence and say Westbrook instead of Harden?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said they don't have enough to be a championship team. They're just.
I would agree with you. I agree with you. Not enough to be a championship team. I would also say if they have a healthy Chris Paul versus a healthy Westbrook, they're better with Chris Paul. It's just that he's injured every year.
I don't know. I think at their ages, I think healthy Westbrook right now is better than healthy Chris Paul.
I would still take a healthy Chris Paul.
Really?
Just because he's not going to be as inefficient as Westbrook. Is Westbrook finally going to make the guys around him better?
No,
when he's off the ball, Harden or Westbrook, when they're off the ball, they're going to pretend they want to play still.
I just feel like if both players are going Super Saiyan in the playoffs, Westbrook is going to have a better just like a one game. We're going nuts. I think Westbrook's going to have a better game.
Okay. I wish they both were. Harden's more efficient than Westbrook. I wish Westbrook would be a little more efficient.
I hate Houston, so I hope they both continue their efficiency like this.
Los Angeles Clippers. So they added some players. Have you heard of their big signing, Maurice Harkless?
That's a good signing. I like it.
It's actually a pretty good addition. They also added Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if they're important players to talk about. That's a lot of guys to add. They also drafted two players I don't really know, and then they lost Gallinari. They lost Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They lost Wilson Chandler, Gary Temple. They re-signed Patrick Beverley, Jermichael Green, Ivica Zubac. This is obviously trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, hard to argue with this one. You got the maybe the best player in the league in Kawhi, and you added Paul George.
Right, but Paul George doesn't even have a return date, so that could be interesting.
When is he supposed to return? He'll be healthy by I don't know when he's supposed to return.
Not for the beginning of the season. I mean, they don't even have a date yet. He's way away. He might be December, January.
Okay, let's say he comes back in January. Whatever. He's still a hell of a player, and you basically have both are top 5 MVP candidates at the very least. Basically both were top 5 MVP candidates from last year.
I'm just saying those people saying they're going to be like the 1 seed. You have to take in consideration that George might miss like 3 months of the season.
Okay, Lakers. Speaking of teams, we have to take in consideration how much these guys will play.
Right. Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Danny Green.
DeMarcus Cousins, who will actually not play.
Right.
Danny Green. Oh, wait. Cousins is out for the whole season, right? Whole season. His career might be over, but go on.
Okay. So Davis, Danny Green, Avery Bradley. Bradley's been a mess lately, too.
By the way, this is not completely updated. Didn't they add someone to replace Cousins? They add JaVale McGee?
Great. So
okay.
Jared Dudley, and they lost Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Tyson Chandler, Mike Muscala, Reggie Bullock. So
they lost last year's roster.
Yeah.
Are the Lakers heading in the right direction, Jay? What do you think?
No.
Jay, how do you say no?
Because they traded all their young players for an injury-prone player
They
And
have 2 of the 5 best players in the NBA. That's how the NBA seems to work now. I wouldn't say they're going to win the title, but they're definitely a lot better than they were last year.
I don't think they're a lot better.
Really? So last year they didn't make the playoffs. Are they a playoff team this year? Don't screw up your predictions coming up. But
Maybe.
they are a playoff team.
Borderline.
Okay, so they're definitely better than last year. And if you're in the playoffs, do you want to face the Lakers?
Maybe. I mean,
Really?
if Davis is injured, you got a 35-year-old LeBron
Yeah.
and like nobody else. So maybe
Well,
maybe
Kuzma, by the way, says he's someone else.
And I say, are you though?
They do they still have the old Celtic point guard
Rondo?
Rondo? Yeah, is Rondo on the Lakers this year?
I believe he is, but like again, is Rondo moving the chains?
No, moving the chains. Are you just going to do a metaphor from other sports?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he getting you
think-
past half court?
Has he gotten your pawn yet? The Lakers,
Also, they added this happened after that website. Dwight Howard. So their projected starting lineup is Rondo, Green, James, Davis, Howard. 4 out of 5 are way past their prime.
Yet I don't hate it. Danny Green can be a great shooter on some nights. If healthy, they're a dangerous team in the playoffs. Because you know why? Because LeBron will play 40. He'll play all 48 minutes and look pretty good because he doesn't take steroids. Does not take steroids. He just looks really good without them.
Do you trust any 5 of those guys to be available for the playoffs?
Anthony Davis is a hell of a player. They're a dangerous team. I think you're insane to say they're not going in the right direction. I don't necessarily think they're winning the title, but they are going in the right direction. They got a lot better.
I think first round of the playoffs, Nuggets, Lakers, you're going to get Lakers starting lineup of Cook, Caldwell Pope, Kuzma, JaVale McGee, and LeBron.
You know, they do the, what is it? Bill Simmons does the NBA, like the most watchable, I forget how he calls it.
League Pass team.
What do you say?
League
Pass team, yeah. The teams you want to watch. Lakers are definitely a top 5 League Pass team. You're dying to see them play.
Right, but you might not see their starting lineup for like the first 6 months of the season.
Yeah, and you're also kind of even dying to see them without the starting lineup. Just see them lose really badly and have everyone, the whole broadcast being like, if only LeBron and Anthony Davis were healthy.
Right.
Okay, so we got Memphis Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
This says they added Dwight Howard, but I guess Dwight Howard ended up on they cut him maybe.
Yeah.
This says they added Iguodala, but I think he retired, right?
Iguodala retired?
Or did he did not retire?
I don't think so.
Oh, he's just on the Grizzlies?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks for him.
No.
He says Iguodala, they reach agreement. He will not report to training camp.
This happened 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I knew that, Jay.
Okay.
I know things, Jay.
So he's on the trade market.
Okay, so somehow he'll end up back on the Warriors. He'll be like, I'm only going to go to the Warriors. Yeah, you have no say. You don't have no trade clause. Just the league will put me back on the Warriors because they feel bad for. He'll be back on the Warriors. I guarantee it.
I don't think he's allowed.
Why? There's a league rule against that?
Yeah, I don't think you could trade a player and then like get him back.
The NBA will make an exception. Josh Jackson from the Suns, who was a very disappointing high pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted. They got Grayson Allen with the Jazz. They got Jay Crowder. They got DeAnthony Melton. They got a bunch of guys. They got Solomon Hill from the Hawks. They acquired a bunch of guys that don't really matter.
Yeah.
They drafted John Morant. He matters. They also got Brandon Clark, who's not a bad player either. They lost Mike Conley, DeLon Wright, A.V. Bradley, C.J. Miles, Chandler Parsons.
Their whole starting lineup.
They lost everyone. Are they going in the right direction?
No, absolutely.
What do you mean no?
They lost everybody good, and they got some good draft picks.
What's their starting lineup for next year? You have that in front of you?
Their starting lineup is going to be. Give me 1 second. Projected starting lineup.
Yes, obviously
is going to be John Morant.
Yeah, you have the second best player in the draft,
Yeah,
and you have a
fine.
guy that could be a potential all-star
Before
at
you
point
go
guard.
nuts, it goes downhill from here. Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, Jaren Jackson Jr.,
Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the best players in last year's draft.
and Valanciunas for the 30 games he's healthy.
Okay, so they have two young, budding not two players that have a chance to be stars in this league, in Jackson and Morant. I think that's heading in the right direction.
Okay.
You don't think that's heading in the right direction? Again, the Knicks would dream to be in their situation.
I want to see one game with John Morant first.
Well, you can't, Jay. You have to make your prediction tonight.
Yeah, that's why I said down.
Okay. Next we got Timberwolves.
Minnesota Timberwolves. They added.
This list is terrible.
Where are they now? Noah Vonleh.
And he's the only one on this list that even is worth mentioning.
Yeah, nobody of note.
Shabazz Napier,
They added 7 guys. None of them are of note. They lost,
Jordan Bell, Naz Reid.
They lost Taj Gibson, Tyus Jones, Derrick Rose, Saric, Anthony Tolliver. Pretty big pieces.
They lost they traded Saric to the Suns.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're dumb.
Who'd they get back? Okay, whatever. They drafted Jarrett.
They got Jarrett Culver because they traded for the pick.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Culver is supposed to be. Wait, why did I forget how this trade happened? Do you remember what the trade was?
It was Saric and somebody else for Culver and somebody else. It's not good.
This doesn't make. Why did they do this trade?
They traded their pick They traded up, so they traded their pick. They traded their pick and Saric.
Okay, so whatever. They did a pick swap basically.
But they threw in Saric, who's a good player.
Well, if you want to move up in the draft, you have to trade players.
Right, but Saric, like a top 5 player on the team?
Yeah, well, they must not. They don't think much of their team, so it doesn't really matter.
I'd say they're trending down.
Okay, his rights were immediately traded to the Timberwolves in exchange for Saric and the 11th pick in the draft.
Yeah, I'd say they're trending down.
That's a pretty big. I would say if you're the Suns, that's a pretty dumb trade. Unless you really don't value the 6th pick in the draft. The 6th pick in the draft should be a lot more valuable than the 11th pick in the draft.
Yeah, but it was a weak draft, and Saric is good.
Yeah, well, so this guy Culver is people talking about the fact that people thought he was really good. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. He's a solid player. It's a big. They're going to be terrible. That's the end of the story. I think they're heading definitely in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would say they're in the wrong direction.
They're definitely in the wrong direction. Their biggest hope for improvement is that Wiggins decides he wants to be a baseball player.
Yeah, as long as Wiggins is on the team, they're done.
You know what's crazy also? You mean everyone was talking about either Towns or Porzingis. Porzingis is now on the Knicks had to trade him, whatever, and we don't know what his future's going to be like. And Towns, we're all like, oh, I guess he wasn't that good either.
Is it a rule that the Timberwolves have to get a really good forward and then just never surround him by anybody?
I'm just amazed. So Towns Towns could be a lot better, and he's not.
Yeah, but he's still really good. I mean, his
defense is pretty terrible, and his offense is very good. But it doesn't seem like even his own team realizes that.
He's a top 20 in the league, though.
No, you're crazy. Top 20. What did SI have him? Any chance you have that?
I'll pull it up real quick, but he was in the top 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I believe you. Pelicans. They added Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, JJ Redick, Derek Favors, Josh Hart, all pretty good additions. They drafted some guy named Zion Williams, and they got the 8th pick in the draft, Jason Hayes, which was kind of maybe a reach at number 8. They also got the number 17 pick in the draft. They lost Anthony Davis, Solomon Hill, Alfred Payton, Julius Randle, Stanley Johnson. They lost a bunch of players. Jay, if you say they're heading in the wrong direction, we may have to end the show.
No, they're definitely heading in the right direction.
Okay. I mean, we should have Zion because the league is fixed, but whatever. They're clearly just drafting Zion alone makes them heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say definitely.
Plus, I'd have to say you have to kind of like, even though they lost Anthony Davis, you got to like some of the players they got back.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Ingram's going to be healthy, so that's huge. And
I always like Josh Hart, but Lonzo Ball is still could be a very good player.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
I think they're going to be more competitive than people think. Who's next on the list? Thunder?
Yes. So we have the Thunder. I was just I was trying to see where Towns is on this list.
You got it?
And Towns is I'm still going up. He's very high on the list. He is 13th in the league.
13th?
According to SI.com, he's 13th in the league.
Who's 14th?
Gobert.
Would you rather have Gobert or Towns?
I think I would rather Gobert.
I would rather Gobert also. I think he's one of the best centers in the league as far as defense. I'd rather have that premier
But
defense.
I'd rather have Towns than 15, 16, and so on.
Well, who's 15?
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, who's 16?
LaMarcus Aldridge. Who's like...
Aldridge's going to win you more games than Towns is right now.
Aldridge is like 33, 34.
Yeah, that's fair. So who's 17?
Draymond Green.
I'd rather have Draymond Green. But again, I'd rather have Green. Would you not rather have Greens over Towns?
I'm just trying to put like contract into consideration too.
I'm just thinking anyone's a defensive anchor.
Yeah,
it's gonna
I would. But I mean, it's debatable. And like 18's Al Horford, who's getting old. So I mean,
who's one above him? Who's 12?
12 is Westbrook.
Yeah, I mean, the league somehow the league doesn't seem so deep anymore. Who's
Right.
who's 1 through 10? Let's just go real quick.
1, who do you think?
1's Kawhi.
No, it's
Oh
Jimmy.
no, 1 is the Greek Freak.
Yeah.
2 is Kawhi.
Yep.
3 is Anthony Davis.
LeBron.
Okay, I thought they might put him over him because of the age.
First
4
time in 10 years it hasn't been LeBron.
4th is Anthony Davis.
Nope.
4th is Steph Curry.
Yep.
Okay. 5th is Anthony Davis.
Nope.
Does he not count because he didn't play last year? 5th is who's 5th?
Harden.
Oh, okay. 6th is Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Okay. 7th is. Just read me the rest of the list, Jay. I don't want to play a guessing game anymore.
Embiid.
Yes.
Jokic.
Yeah.
Paul George.
Yeah.
Lillard.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid list, actually.
Yeah.
But Towns doesn't seem like you're still going more on potential than you are like actual like what he does.
Yeah.
Okay. Thunder. Like if Towns just stays what he is right now for the rest of his career, he'll be a very good player, but a bit of a disappointment also.
Yeah.
Thunder. Okay, they added Chris Paul. They added Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They added Gallinari and Mike Muscala, and they lost Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Jeremy Grant, and Markieff Morris.
Markieff.
Whatever. And they also re-signed Nerlens Noel, who's shockingly still in the league.
I mean,
If you're Noel, have you gotten over the fact that your agent advised you to turn down the $80 million contract?
I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds bad, but they also had like 6 first-round draft picks added to that.
Yes, they added a lot. So Oklahoma Thunder, do you like where they're heading?
Yes.
Because of all the first-round draft picks?
And I like Shea.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying. They're not going to win it this year, but they set themselves up as good as you can, and they probably Chris Paul. Does he end the season on the Thunder?
No.
Not a chance.
Which
right?
means they might get more draft picks, which is insane.
It's just figuring out where he's going. I think the Thunder already thought they'd be able to trade him, and they're kind of shocked they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Who's left? We have the
Phoenix Suns. So they added Ricky Rubio, Saric, Aaron Baines, Frank Kaminsky, and they lost Josh Jackson, T.J. Warren, Kyle Korver, Rashawn Holmes.
so they have the number 1 pick from last year. They have Devin Booker. Where are they heading, Jay? Right or wrong direction?
Right direction.
Are you kidding me? They're a goddamn joke, Jay.
Yeah, but they're still headed in the right direction.
No, they're not. They're still heading in the wrong direction. They're horrible. They're still horrible.
Oh, they're horrible. They're horrible, but they got some nice pieces.
What's their nice pieces? They have just some overrated offensive players.
Well, that's Booker. Oh, and Ayton. Yeah, I guess.
And Ayton, yeah, DeAndre Ayton was not a good number 1 pick overall.
But I like Rubio. I like Saric.
I don't think they're heading anywhere. This is like last year. They added last year. They had who the Knicks they added the Trevor Ariza. They added Trevor Ariza last year for no good reason.
Okay, I'll switch mine to treading water.
Treading water. They're goddamn drowning. They're not a good. They're guaranteed a top 5 worst record in the NBA next year. And I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm trashing another team. Portland Trailblazers. They added Hassan Whiteside, Ken Bazemore, Mario Hezonja, who should play point guard for them. Anthony Tolliver and Paul Gasol. Pau Gasol is still playing?
Yeah.
I thought he retired already.
I thought he retired too. But
okay, they drafted Nasir Little, who's supposed to be decent, and they also lost Enes Kanter. They lost. I thought they would have kept Kanter in some ways, but they lost Seth Curry, Evan Turner, Harkless, Myers Leonard, who I think is a underrated loss, and they also lost Al-Farouq Aminu. Where are they headed?
Downward.
I don't know. They were pretty good last year, and they added Mario Hezonja, who's a triple-double machine. Sorry. I think they're really more of a lateral. I don't think anything. They didn't really lose that much, and they're still a very good team. I think it's in the West, it's a little more wide open. They have a shot.
I think if Nurkic comes back, they'll be okay. But without Nurkic, I think
they have a shot this year. They are like if you're Portland, you're not like we need to like just rebuild. We're in it this year. We have a shot at the playoffs.
I think you're like we definitely need a move. I don't think we're in it. I think we're like sixth seed, first round exit.
Okay, so they have one of the best backcourts in the NBA right now. If
And
they
that's
add one or two players, I mean, like they're dangerous in any 7-game series.
Are they?
Did
they get swept like 2 straight years?
Well, first of all, Damian Lillard can hit 35-foot jumpers to win games now. So
yeah,
I think they're in it. Okay. I think they're. If I'm the Portland Trailblazers, if I'm a fan, I'm like, we have a shot this year. The West is wide open.
Okay,
this is our best season.
Kings,
you don't agree?
No, I don't. Kings added Trevor Ariza, Dwayne Dedmon, Corey Joseph, Rashawn Holmes. They somehow only had the 40th pick. I don't know how.
they traded it away, obviously.
They lost Willie Cauley-Stein, Alec Burks, Frank Mason. They're still not good. They
re-signed Harrison Barnes. You don't like where they're heading? They actually were like pretty good in the second half last year. They're not like they have De'Aaron Fox is a pretty good player.
They have a good core. They just didn't really add much. So.
Well, this is not just about all the players you added or lost. It's also just like, is your core, like, do you like what the team is doing? The team didn't screw anything up, so I like what they're doing.
I'll go with yes, then.
Okay.
I mean, between Fox and Hield, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good core. Spurs. They added DeMar Carroll, the Beast, Trey Lyles, and they lost Davis Bertans, and they re-signed Rudy Gay. What are they doing?
They're treading water.
So they drafted the 49th pick in the draft, this guy, Quindry Weatherspoon. Guarantee in a couple years he'll be one of the top 5 players in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm only basing that on just because it's the Spurs. I know nothing about him.
Yeah.
I guess treading water sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't know where the organization's really going, but they're the Spurs, so they're going to be they'll probably still be a good team, but like.
All right. And the last one, Utah Jazz. They added Mike Conley, Bojan Bogdanovic, Ed Davis, Jeff Green, Moutier, and they lost Derek Favors, Kyle Korver, Ricky Rubio. I would still say trending in the right direction.
Yeah, how can you argue with that?
Yeah.
I mean, they have Donovan Mitchell. They have the French dude we just mentioned, one of the best defensive centers in the league, Gobert. And they added Bojan Bogdanovic, who was really good last year for the Pacers.
Yeah.
Conley, if healthy, is a hell of an addition at point guard. I like him better than having Ricky Rubio there.
Yeah.
I think they are also saying, hey, we've got a shot at this.
The West is so deep.
Yeah, no, you don't think the Jazz have a shot?
They do.
There are a lot of teams that could go to the finals this year. Let's go. Top 15 teams in the West. We're going to start with the worst team, go and work our way up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 15. Please reveal, Jay.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Wow.
Really?
You think the Suns will be better than anyone?
Yeah.
The Suns are garbage, Jay.
No,
they are absolute garbage. Yeah. I will do Grizzlies versus the Suns. Burger bet.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, I'm not doing well on these burger bets, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I love making burger bets against you.
I have not won a single one yet. Not a single goddamn bet. Yeah, Suns are gonna be the worst team in the NBA. Not worst team in the NBA, worst team in the West. Explain to me why the Grizzlies why are the Suns better than the Grizzlies?
Well, the Grizzlies' best player is probably Jaren Jackson Jr.
Who's in that draft, who's better than Jaren Jackson?
But, I mean, they have, like, nothing else.
He's a top 5 player in that draft, or top 3 player in that draft. And they just got John Morant.
I mean, Ricky Rubio is better than any. They have Rubio, Booker, Oubre Jr., Saric, and Ayton as a projected starting lineup.
The Suns are going to be terrible, Jay.
That's not a bad starting lineup.
They're a bad starting lineup. Okay, they're a bad team. Okay, Booker is
Suns
not
have
a good
better,
player.
And they have Aaron Baines coming off the bench and Kaminsky. The Suns have a way better team.
Oh, you didn't know Frank Kaminsky's garbage?
It's still better than.
Okay. So then you're horrendous there. But okay, number 14. How bad are you going with this list?
Dallas Mavericks.
Holy crap! You don't put the Suns. How are the Suns the number 1 seed?
Yes.
Okay. Dallas Mavericks. Not a lot of respect for them, huh?
No, I think they're going to be really bad.
Why? First of all, aren't you thinking Luke? Don't you think Luka's one of the best players in the league? I know you love Luka.
I do. I think they have almost nothing else.
Who would you rather have, Luka or Towns?
Luka.
Yeah, I don't even disagree with you on that one. So how do you think they don't think they're going to be a decent team?
Because they're starting DeLon Wright at point guard, Dwight Powell at center. I just think they're garbage.
Okay.
Hardaway's got like metal plates in his leg.
Okay, so 14, Zion Williams and the Pelicans.
Okay.
Ooh, they actually, I mean, they're going to have Drew Holiday. They're going to have a bunch of players. I will predict it now. I think Zion Williams will play 40 games max this year.
Really? Okay.
You don't think he'll be injured?
I do. I just don't
think
think
the heaviest player in the NBA who lives on his ability to jump may get injured a lot?
I think he's going to get injured a lot, just not that much. All right.
I think he's going to miss a lot of games. I think we're going to have a disappointing rookie season. And as a Knicks fan, I will not regret the fact that we didn't get a chance to draft him.
All right.
I'm a bitter fan. Whatever. Screw you. Okay, who's your 13?
Phoenix Suns.
Okay, fine. 13 is Grizzlies.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
12.
sense.
Yeah.
12, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay. I had the Thunder at 12.
Really?
Why, you think they're going to be good?
Yeah, I think they're going to be all right.
How good do you think the Thunder are going to be? Why? They lost. Paul is going to be on the team for maybe half the season, and he'll be injured for part of that. He's not going to give maximum effort. And the rest of the team is not going to be that great. I mean, I think they're going to be a mess this season.
They got Shea, they got Gallinari, they still got Steven Adams. I think they're going to be all right.
I don't think they're going to be a good team. I think without Russell Westbrook and with Chris Paul probably checked out the entire time he plays there, they're going to just be a bad team.
49 minutes into the episode, somebody clipped that. Mark's going to be embarrassed.
Oh, I'd like to be the first time, Jay. Number 11.
Pelicans.
Okay. T-Wolves. You did T-Wolves already, right?
I did T-Wolves. Yeah, I just did it at 12.
Yeah. The T-Wolves are going to be bad. Okay, 10.
10, I got Portland Trailblazers. This is my
Ooh, you don't have the
ballsy
Blazers
pick.
even make the playoffs.
No.
They were like what were they, like the 4 seed last year or 5 seed?
Yes.
So the conference got worse, but you think they're going to get worse also because they lost Porzingis. I mean, they lost Cantor.
And Nurkic is injured, and their depth isn't that great. And
This is like almost the same roster last year, and they were pretty darn good last year.
I don't think
Not even putting them in the playoffs.
No.
Wow.
Well, the West is so deep.
Okay, that can't be your answer for disrespecting every team.
I'm not going to disrespect the top 8.
Okay, there. What number we were on? We were on number 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Mavs. Which apparently, based on you, like you think the Mavs are going to be horrible, so I apparently think the Mavs are going to be much better than you think.
Yeah.
Number 9.
9, I got...
Hang on. We have to have the same 9 because there's no way you put this number 9 team in the playoffs. I'll be shocked if you do.
You're going to be shocked. I have the Lakers at 9.
Oh,
Lakers are
kidding me?
missing the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I would love that to be true. First of all, you're putting the Kings in the playoffs?
They made the playoffs last year.
I can't believe you're putting the Kings in the playoffs.
They made the playoffs last year, and I think
Did you have them trending like not even in the right direction? You were like, they're not so great. And
Yeah.
now you're having them like the 1 seed?
I feel the same way about the Lakers.
Okay, so the Lakers, who have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I mean, I guess we would have said the same thing last year. I would have said it's absurd they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to make the goddamn playoffs, Jay.
Okay, so you have the Kings at 9.
I have the Kings at 9.
Okay.
8.
I have the Kings.
Okay. I have the Blazers at 8. So I had them hanging on by a thread, but I have them in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're kind of giving me crap about having them not make the playoffs, and you have them.
What if the Blazers missed the playoffs? By the way,
It's been a long time.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
I think they're due.
They're due. Why? Because Damian Lillard's one of the best players in the league, and CJ McCollum is also one of the best players in the league. I can see how they're due.
Because you need more than 2 good players to make the playoffs in the West.
They've proven actually you don't. They've been good for a long time with these two, and if anything, those two guys are getting a little better.
Yeah, but they lost like most of their bench.
They didn't lose anyone, Jay. Anyone? They lost again. Cantor. Who gives a crap? Okay. 7.
Warriors.
All right. You put the Spurs this high, huh?
Yeah.
I'm surprised how high you have the Spurs. The Spurs, we both agree, don't have the best roster anymore.
No.
I have the Spurs at 7. You have the Warriors at 7, huh?
Yeah, I do.
So you started drinking before you did this list, huh?
Maybe.
Okay. 6.
6, I have the Spurs.
Pretty high for the Spurs. I had the Lakers at 6.
You had the Spurs at 7?
I had the Spurs at 7, yeah.
Okay, and you had the Lakers at 6.
Yeah, so Lakers, they're still going to be a pretty good team. They have when LeBron sits, Anthony Davis will play. In theory, both of those guys will play at least 65 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like chalk up the rest of them as losses. But
all right, get ready.
Okay, number 5.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
I had the Thunder at 12.
No.
You have the Thunder at 5.
That means you have the Warriors at 5.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This is the biggest disparity in our lists.
Ever since we started the show, I think.
So I think the Thunder are going to be pretty bad, and you think the Thunder are contending for the finals.
No, I think it's a 4-team race in the
West.
West.
You have them at 5. At 5, you think they have a shot at the finals.
No.
In this deep West, the top 5 teams have a shot at the finals.
I think it's a top 4 race for the West.
Okay, I am amazed though you put them that high. Why do you think they're going to be? Do you really think you don't think Chris Paul, who can't stay healthy anyway, you don't think he's going to be checked out on the goddamn Thunder?
No.
You think he's going to be like, now I'm really going to give it my all?
Yeah, I think
now that I've been told to go F myself on it, like he's just waiting to be traded.
I think he's like, oh, I get to touch the ball again. This is great.
You also think that we just said he will not end the season on the Thunder roster, yet you think they're going to be this good?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see that at all. I don't think they'll be that great. I think they'll be a pretty bad team, actually. Okay. 4, I'm going to say we both agree on this one. I'm going to say we both have set the Jazz at 4.
You would be correct on that.
Yeah, it's hard to put them any higher. So Jazz, I think, will be really good. They've got a shot this year. I like what they're doing. A lot of it depends if Donovan Mitchell can take the next step also.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm going to say our top 3 is going to be slightly different. I'm going to predict your top 3.
Okay.
I'm going to say at number 3, you have the Rockets.
You would be correct.
Okay, so I have the Clippers at number 3.
Fair. I mean, George is going to miss a lot of time.
Yeah, George is going to miss a lot of time. You're still going to have to sit Kawhi every third game because he's going to be still in some kind of minutes. They're still going to try to rest him for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers will be good, but I think they're not going to win enough games to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, you have the Clippers.
Yeah.
And number 2, I have the Rockets.
Yeah.
So you know what that means? We both agree on the Nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were really good last year. I don't see why they won't be just as good. And they're the deepest team in the West.
Yeah.
I don't think it's questionable. I don't think you can argue they're not the deepest team in the West.
Right, and also one of the youngest too, which is crazy.
Yeah, so they have guys getting better. I like where they're going. I don't think they're going to the finals, but I think they'll have the best record in the West.
All right, so I mean, other than the Thunder, I think
that's a big disparity.
We're fairly in line.
Fairly in line, yeah. I could forward you my list if you want to post it.
I did it. I typed it as we went.
Okay, sounds good. And who do you of this list? Who do you have in the finals?
This is so tough. I would say I'm going to go nuts and say the Nuggets.
Yeah, that is nuts.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the number 1 seed makes the final.
I'm going to say the Nuggets are still not going to make the finals. It'll be very good. Probably the Clippers, then maybe. I think Kawhi might be pull off some insane feat and go to the finals in two different conferences 2 years in a row.
The funny thing is, almost everybody's picking the Nuggets to have the 1 seed, and almost nobody's ppicking them to make the finals.
It's because they think in a 7-game series they don't think they're as strong as everyone else.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's hard to argue that the other teams might be better in a 7-game series. The Clippers look like they could beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. The Rockets, it would be very close. The Jazz would be very close. All these teams match up very well with the Nuggets.
Yeah.
The Warriors, even in a 7-game series, would be an interesting 7-game series with the Nuggets.
True.
So it could be anyone. So this also could be the Jazz go to the final. Some team could just step up and go to the finals this year. It'll be a really interesting season.
Yeah.
What did we learn today, Jay?
We learned that we really disagree on the Thunder.
Apparently. There is nothing there's no team we've disagreed more on than the Thunder. Oh, and the Suns, because apparently you think the Suns are going to be so amazing.
What did I pick them 13th? I mean,
yeah. For some reason you think there will be 2 teams that are worse than the Suns, which I think is unfathomable. I think that's more absurd than your pick of the Thunder as the 5 seed.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so that was our Western Conference preview. It looks like we're not going to be able to do an episode for the fantasy draft, so sorry about that.
It's mostly Jay's fault. I blame Jay completely. Why did you screw this up for us, Jay?
I feel like there's some revisionist history going on here.
Could be.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, but we'll do a show again soon, and then very soon. When does the preseason start? October?
Early October. Training camp should be opening by the time we record again. So we'll actually have Knicks stuff to talk about.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. And then we'll see what this team's made of.
I don't want to see that yet, but go on.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back soon.
Bye, my love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good.